To kick or not to kick, that is the game. In England, football is the name, but across the sea, in lands so wide, soccer is the word they can't abide. Same game, same ball, the rules the same, yet one calls it football, the other a different name. Is it football's fault or language's play? In the end, we all just kick the same way. I've watched my fair share of sports anime, so I was excited to jump into this one. But I'll be clear with you, this is not a sports anime. If anything, it's disguised as one, when in reality it's a shonen. Jinpachi Ego created a program called Blue Lock that will fundamentally change Japanese football forever. How, you might ask? Well, he gets 300 forwards that are all in high school and puts them up against each other until he gets the best ones and creates a team out of them. While this might sound like a crazy science project, just let him cook for now. If someone wishes to participate, they need to put their career on the line, so if you're eliminated, you'll lose the privilege of playing football. Yes, I did say eliminated. This shit is just like Squid Games, but people don't die. Or do they? With the whole point of this project actually being awakening egos inside of the players. So let me be clear. There is no stupid friendship of power up bullshit in the show. This is a fucking shonen anime about the best strikers in Japan devouring each other's egos. It sounds a little bit fruity now that I think about it.
No, don't make it gay.
I know that there are people that will and are thinking that the show is so unrealistic. Now, if you're one of those people, dude, this is an anime we're talking about. If you're interested in realism, go watch actual football, or better, go play it. It doesn't get more realistic than that. Overall, I personally hate the realism argument for both video games and anime, as it just makes no sense to me. Their protagonist, Yuichi Sagi, is good at football, like better than me and you. But everyone else in Blue Lock is considerably better, with most of them already realizing their strengths and weaknesses, in some cases being monsters. While he is more of a blank slate that uses both the rules and teachings of Blue Lock to develop techniques that cover for his shortcomings. While I did mention that friendship is not the key, they still work together and in some cases develop friendships that are supported by competition. Of course, this is a very different friendship than one that would be built on compassion and care. Yuichi is a great example of this, as he creates a number of connections with different players, using them to score his goals. This is a two-way street, with others using him to score their goals as well. As the show continues, we're introduced to more things like the flow state and chemical reactions. Simply explaining the flow state is you locking the fuck in, making you not second guess yourself, and playing at your peak. While chemical reactions are when two players combine their playstyle, elevating its potency and surprising the opponents. Some might say all of this is childish or unrealistic, but in my opinion it's just hype. Look, I don't like football, I don't watch it ever, but something in my monkey brain clicks when I watch the show. Yes, there are some cringe moments like Bachir's Monster that gives me PTSD from watching these kind of shorts.
Thinking. I am planning.
But other than that, realistically nothing else really makes me cringe about the show. Sorry for the interruption, but as you can see, most of the people that watch our channel are not subscribed, so it would be great if you would be willing to click the subscribe and or the like button. Thank you, and let's get back to the video. Season 2 had bad animation, getting the nickname PNG Lock, but there were reasons for that, and it's not because one person animated most of the show. That was misinformation. I'll give you a fast summary of a translated post made by one of the animators working on Season 2. The animator explains why the animation quality of Blue Lock's second episode was poor. They initially worked on 5 episodes but left after completing episode 2 due to production issues. Despite the low pay and tight deadlines, the team did their best, but their work was heavily altered and removed. The animator blames the production committee, which prioritized profit over work conditions, leading to rushed and compromised animation. Frustrated by the final results, they left ashamed of their work and decided to leave the project. In case you want to see the full post yourself, I'll put it in the description in case you're curious. This unfortunately feels like the norm we hear from the animators that are part of the production teams on anime. Because of the normalized practice of this in Japan, it's really hard to do anything about it. While the journey of watching Season 2 was painful, at this point I fell for the trap of giving a fuck. They had me good, so even if they didn't give the characters any emotion with their sick tricks, I was just interested in seeing the story progress. Besides, it's not the art style itself that was the problem, but the lack of motion. If we got the 7 deadly frames treatment, I might have just fucking lost it. So yeah, Season 2 did not have the most stellar animation. but I decided to keep going from episode to episode, just minding my own business. But then it happened. The animators locked the fuck in. They reached their own flow state.
If they score now, it's game over!
This whole season was slowly building up tension for this climax, which is not very different from masturbation. Now, does this fix the previous episode's lack of motion? Fuck no, but it showed potential and it was super hype. If every episode of the show was like this, I'd be comparing it with shows like JJK and not the shit parts of the 7 Deadly Sins. When I read this part of the story like 3 years ago, I started disassociating myself from the characters, in turn dropping the manga. In general, it just started becoming a freaky football manga, but now with the anime I didn't have this problem because of the difference in medium. This was partially because they keep adding new characters and removing others, while also disconnecting from what made season 1 and the first chapters interesting. Yoichi is no longer the underdog. As season 2 started, they still have him underplaying himself, when in reality he's the heart of Blue Lock. Very early on I realized that the story was going to go in that direction. After all, he's a protagonist that's been taken in the teachings of Blue Lock like a sponge, while also using everyone's unique and chaotic playstyle to his advantage. The only thing that holds him back is his less trained body and techniques. To summarize the pros and cons of the show, I'll start with animation is good where it needs to be. I know that there are people that will disagree with me, thinking that they'd rather not get another lackluster season, but I feel that view comes from privilege. I personally still enjoyed the show, and there were moments where the second season looked good, with all of the first season looking good in my opinion. There are a lot of moments that make you excited. This is by far the strongest point, with me actually being excited for each episode, even in season 2. I've watched a lot of actually bad anime with terrible writing, dookie art style, and tragic animation. While I can't think of a show that had this holy trinity at the top of my head, they do exist. Personally, I hate boring story writing more than anything, but that's besides the point. I think it's a great adaptation of a football anime. If anything, this is the most anime a football idea can be, besides literally giving them JoJo stance or superpowers like Inazuma 11. Rather than what they can do being the focus, it's the concept of the show with all of them being forwards. There are some insane moments with the moves they pull off, but that normally happens as they score. As for the cons, there's a loss of development for a lot of characters. The author definitely plays favorites, with a lot of characters being left out or just eliminated. I'm not talking about characters that have no development either, but I hope he uses this weakness in the future to bring them back as antagonists. This show does use a lot of CG and 3D models to cut corners with the animation. While some people might absolutely hate this, I think the show utilizes it in a somewhat good way. But it's in the cons because I know most people, and I do mean most, will just full on disagree with me, which is understandable. This next one I wish I wasn't saying, but I have problems with the conclusion being luck. Yes, I understand that this is in many ways perfect, but it just does leave a sour taste in my mouth. After all of this, it's decided by luck. So let's reframe this. It was decided by the fucking ego. Get it right, writers. You're wrong, I'm right. Yuichi's ego was so huge, he decided to play for a goal that was not there. When everyone was going back to counter, he knew that this was his last chance to score a goal this whole game. There is a reason why he was never able to score this whole time, as it gives a good reason for him to do something so insane and stupid. But hey, that's just my headcanon. Blue Lock is a good anime, with its only core problem being budget animation. The story is good, the action gets you excited, and has some fire animation when needed. For someone like me, that's more than enough. I understand why a lot of people might not be happy with what we got for seasons 2 animation, but I feel like at the end of the day we need to appreciate what we got, rather than complaining about what we didn't get. Especially when animators did their best, and unfortunately the actual studio itself made it impossible for them to create a product that they themselves could be happy with. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, why don't you click this video right here? You might like it as well. You know, it's hovering right there, it's already there. Why don't you just, I don't know, you might as well just click it, you know what I mean? Even if you haven't clicked the video, thank you for watching. I hope you're having a wonderful day, and hopefully I'll see you in another video.